There are various benefits. If you consider to the Ankusa, that the elephant god, the mind is controlled by meditating on the Bhadra thunderbolt. Destroy the mountains of sin, that is Padma, lotus. If you meditate on lotus, that ornament the lake of his one's mind. Flag, highest king, we can achieve highest kingdom of the mind. Barleycorn, highest fame. Chakra, complete protection. Umbrella, relief from three miseries. Swastik, you get all auspicious. In chapter in third canto, chapter 5, that 39 to 43, the demigods are also praying and that the Lord's lotus, saying that the Lord lotus feet is also the shelter for the everyone. And if we meditate on the Lord's lotus feet, we can get knowledge. And from Lord's lotus feet, the holy river Ganges emanates, and that is the very pure among all rivers. And if devotee take that deep in the holy river, all sins can be destroyed. Then next we should proceed towards, then one should proceed towards the legs of the Lord. Lakshmi is always engaged in massaging the beautiful legs and thighs of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Narayana, who is lying in the ocean of Garva ocean in the universe. Lakshmi is worshipped by the also demigods and by the inhabitants of the planets as well. One should fix the mind Lord's legs from foot to knee as he lies on his bed of Anantasas. Just as Mother Lakshmi releases the beauty of the Lord without disturbance, the yogi should release the sweetness of the Lord, sweetness and the power of his feet. Actually, one should meditate on the lotus feet till mind is fully controlled. Then one should proceed towards the legs of the leg. Then one concentrate on the leg till the mind is completely satisfied. Then one should proceed towards this. Next slide. Next is yogi meditate on the beautiful thighs of the Lord. The personality of God is his reservoir of strength, which is on thigh, and his strength rests on his thigh of his transcendental body. His whole body is full of opulence and riches. All strength, all fame, all beauty, and all knowledge, and all renunciations, and also the knowledge and all renunciations are described. Also, the yogi should contemplate his rounded hips, which are encircled by a girdle that the rest of the exquisite yellow silk cloth that extends down to his ankles. Meditation on the two thighs of the Lord mounted on Garuda while going to give blessings of Prithu Maharaj and Dhruv Maharaj also. We can remembering that past times also by meditating on the thighs of the Lord. So next. Next is abdomen and chest. The yogi now is advised to next to meditate upon the moon-like navel of the Lord from where the beautiful lotus emanates and from Lord Brahma appears. From the navel, the lotus navel of the Lord, the lotus appears. And this lotus is birthplace of Brahmaji. Then the yogi should concentrate the mind on the Lord's chest and nipples, which resembles the pair of most emerald jewels, just like that nipples are just like two jewels. And white is because of the rays of the milk white pearl necklace among the chest, both the nipples. On chest, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the abode of the goddess Mahalakshmi, that is the symbol the symbol is there. The Lord's chest is the source of all transcendental pleasure for the mind and full satisfaction for the eyes also. After nipple and chest, abdomen, nipples and chest, then one should meditate on the neck of the Lord, the neck of the Personality of Godhead, who is adorned the entire universe. The neck of the Lord serves the enhance the beauty of the Kaustuva gem. The Kaustuva gem is the beautiful love because Lord's neck, the Kaustuva gem become beautiful, which hangs in his chest. Go to the next slide. Then the arms of the Lord. The arms of the Lord sources all powers from for who is the demigods are always praying. The who demigods who control the various functions of the material nature by the power of the Lord. Then the yogis would concentrate on the polished ornaments, armpits, and hand jewelers, etc. The yogis would also duly contemplate the Lord's Sudarshan Chakra, which contains the 1000 spokes and dazzling luster, as well as the conch, his looks like a swan in his lotus palm. Then meditate upon his club also, that is Kumodoki club, and is very dear to him. The club smashes the demons and is smeared with blood. One should also concentrate on the nice garland of the neck of the Lord, which is always surrounded by the bumblebees.
Prabhuji, last 1 minute.
Yes, Prabhu. So the next slide. Face of the Lord, then one should must proceed towards the beautiful face, which is adorned with curly hairs and decorated with lotus-like eyes and dancing eyebrows. Go to the next slide. This is smile of the Lord. Observe the glance of the Lord, which is full of compassion towards the fallen soul. His glances, accomplished by the loving smiles, are full of abundant grace. Go to the next slide. Eyes and eyebrows of the Lord. It is stated that in this verse that the charming eyebrows of the Lord are so fascinating that they cause one of the forget the charms of the sense attraction. Prabhuji, next slide. Lord's laughing. One must meditate on the beautiful laughing of the Lord, which is easy object of meditation when the Supreme Lord is laughing. One can see his small teeth, which resemble the jasmine buds rendered with the rosy splendor of his lips. After dhyan, after dhyan and dharana, the last is what we can get by performing last slide too. By performing dhyan and dharana, one moves to the samadhi state. By following this course, the yogi gradually develops pure love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead Hari in the course of the progress in devotional service. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Yeah. Any questions from the devotees, please? Hare Krishna. Any devotees? Okay. So thank you, Prabhuji. Very nice topic, and you also attempted to present very nicely. Thank you very much for that. So one question. So of course you have mentioned it, but just want to hear in as a one sentence or something like that. Why at all a devotee has to meditate upon Lord's form? Just chant the holy name and be happy. Why to meditate on Lord's form?
प्रभु जी नवदा भट्टी दैट स्मरणम जो पाठ है तो इसलिए इसको स्मरण करने के लिए तो ये करना चाहिए भगवान की ये जो ब्यूटीफुल फॉर्म है उसके ऊपर करना चाहिए
Let's meditate
श्रवणम
on holy
कीर्तन
name only. Let's meditate on holy name only. Why to meditate on form also? Why? Why not meditating on the holy name? Holy name also you can meditate. There are a lot of glories of holy name also.
yes ma'am.
Why on the form?
बिकॉज प्रभु जी एक्चुअली क्या ना भगवान जो है मायावादी बोलते हैं कि भगवान की स्वरूप नहीं है और डिवोशनल सर्विस में भगवान की स्वरूप है, फॉर्म है, जिस फॉर्म को ये होली नहीं करते हैं कि फॉर्म को सेवा करने के लिए, ये इसलिए मायावादी को अगेंस्ट में है, इसलिए डिवोटी इस स्वरूप को ऊपर कंसंट्रेट करना चाहिए।
Just to negate the statements of Mayavadis.
मायावादी को नेगेट, नॉट फॉर नेगेटिंग बट
But very simple. We were told to serve the Lord. So if we don't know what
yes,
form the Lord is there, how can we serve Him? So we need to constantly meditate on Lord's form so that our desire to serve Him continuously maintained. Otherwise, whom we will serve if we don't know about the personality of Godhead? Of course, this is one simplistic answer, but otherwise, even meditating on holy name also sometimes difficult. But if there is a form, it becomes very easy to meditate upon Lord. That form describes the glories, form describes the past times, form describes the past times, form describes the names also. Because every form has got every name. Name is not an arbitrary thing. Name is directly connected to form also always. Krishna has a particular form, we call him as Krishna, Damodara, Madhava, etc. etc. Rama has a particular form, different names are there. So the names are also granted to different pastimes and different way the Lord appears and manifests, etc. etc. So in that way, form is very essential in our day-to-day prasa bhakti. That's why here the Maitreya Rishi is telling that one need to meditate upon this form. Even one is Ashtanga Yogi, need to meditate on Lord's form. So there's some thought about it. May not be complete, but whatever. Okay. If there are no questions from other devotees, thank you. Thank you for the nice presentation. But one small feedback. So you need to avoid reading translations. This is your exam. All of you need to prepare thoroughly. So all of you may refer to some bullet points mentioned in the slides, but you should be able to speak at least for 20 minutes on your own instead of reading. The reading habit should come out. So thank you. Correction.
thank you.
Okay. The next presentation. Who is there? Is Achyutanimaya Prabhu is there? So if he is not there, Jai Gauranga Prabhu, you are there?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay, Prabhu.
You are sharing your slides?
Yes.
Okay, please.
Yeah, are you able to see my screen?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Hare
It is
Krishna.
visible. It
Okay.
is visible, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Then pranam to everyone. So my topic is categories and glories of bhakti. So I will be speaking on the various categories which Lord Kapila explained to Mother Devahuti when she was inquiring about the various path. So this whole episode of Lord Kapila starts when Mother Devahuti inquires about him uh, about how to achieve fearlessness. So originally she asked this question to her husband, and when her husband was about to announce, he told that Lord will appear, and when Lord appear, he will explain you the various knowledge. He will give the knowledge by which you can appear, achieve the fearlessness. So when Lord Kapila appeared and Kardamuni renounced this world, so Dehuti asked about the various about the various paths, and Lord Kapila explained that To achieve fearless, there is the Adhyatmika Yoga, and under Adhyatmika Yoga, you explain the various paths like Jnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, Bhakti Yoga. So in 25th chapter, he explained Bhakti Yoga, and 26th and 27th chapter, he explained the Jnana Yoga, and 28th chapter, he explained the Ashtanga Yoga, and then 29th chapter, Mother Dehuti asked about the various categories of Bhakti with its different types. So Mother Devati asks, Lakshana Mahad Adinam Prakate Purusasya cha Sarupam Lakshate Amisham Ena Tat Paramartikam Tata Sankeshu Katitam Yan Mulam Tat Pachakshate Bhakti Yoga Se Mamargam Bruhi Vistaram Prabhu. So here the last line where she says Bhakti Yoga Se Margam Bruhi Vistara Prabhu. So she wants to know about the Bhakti Yoga mark in Vistar, in details. So that is the main subject matter of this presentation. So she asked, "Oh Lord Kapila, please tell me in detail about the path of bhakti, which is the root cause of the knowledge of characteristics of Mahatattva and other elements, as well as Prakriti and Purush, as told by you, according to Sankhya philosophy, by which their very natures are known in mutual divisions." So our presentation will focus on the this last line, Bhakti Yogasya Margam Dui Vistara Prabhu. So Lord Kapila describes various types of bhakti. Lord Kapila says, Bhakti Yoga Bahu Vido Marge Bhavani Bhavini Bhavyate Swabhava Guna Margena Pumsa Bhav Vibhidyate. The Lord Kapila explained that Bhakti Yoga appears in many forms by particular action in a person. So here Lord Kapila is explaining here even though the bhakti itself is transcendental, bhakti never comes under the any modes of material nature. But Bhakti Devi appears in many forms by particular action in person. So the actions of persons are determined on basis of which under which guna he is performing the action. So every conditioned source is conditioned by the three modes of nature. So if one is under mode of tamogun, that is mode of ignorance, so his action will be accordingly in tamogun. So under in tamogun, if one performs bhakti, so that would be considered or can be told as the bhakti in the mode of ignorance. So here Lord Kapila explained that Bhakti appears in many forms of particular action in person according to his intentions. So his intentions will be reflect or will be influenced by the modes. So if one has the if one is under his rajogun or tamoguns, accordingly his intentions will be in the similar only. It cannot have pure intention or like good intentions. The intentions of man are classified by the action of the guna arising from the natures. So the earth is explaining that the intentions are classed by the actions of the gunas. So Lord Kapila explained, Priya Bhakti contaminated by the gunas. Bhakti yoga of one nature is known to have many forms with particular method according to the intention of particular persons. Bhavini. So here the words Bhavini means the intentions of a person who is performing the bhakti. And like Srila Prabhupada also mentioned in Updeshamritam that the success in Krishna conscious movement depends upon the mood and attitude. And with by which goals and intention one is performing accordingly the bhakti, which is like a desired tree, a kalpataru, will fulfill the desire of a sadhaka. So similarly, if one has this kind of intentions, so bhakti will not give any pure bhakti or like prema, but it will just fulfill that particular desire which by which you are performing. Though bhakti in its essential is beyond the guna, it becomes called as tamasic bhakti when it's contaminated by one's natural gunas as tamas. So here the same point is mentioned that the bhakti essential nature is beyond the guna. Bhakti is never under the three guna because bhakti is a Sarupa Vritti, Sarupa Shakti Vritti. It is the function of the eternal internal potency of the Lord, Swarupa of the Lord. So Bhagwan Swarupa Shakti can never comes under the inferior energy called Maya, which is known by three modes of nature. So this transcendental nature should be, or bhakti should never be misunderstood. One should never say that bhakti is tamogun. Bhakti is never tamogun. Bhakti is never satogun. Bhakti is never rajogun. Bhakti is always pure. It is beyond the gunas. But the sadhaka can be under modes. One should not say that bhakti becomes tamasic. Rather, that particular person in question is tamasic. So that's point of explaining that bhakti. One never should say the bhakti is under bhakti is tamasic or bhakti becomes tamasic. But the particular person who is performing the bhakti is under question and he should be classified as tamasic. So bhakti, performer of bhakti in mode of ignorance. So Lord Kapila says, Abhisandhayo ya himsam dambam matsaryam evava tam arambi bhina diga bhava mahi kuryat sa tamasa. So these are the various characteristics of a person who is performing bhakti under mode of ignorance. So what is the first characteristics which Lord Kapila is saying is some arambi, is angry. So these are the qualities of the lower modes like ignorance. So out of anger, he's performing bhakti. Second function or characters which is mentioned is Vinnadik, that is devoid of compassion. He do not have any compassion. Third characteristics is like worship the Lord with the intentions of violence, pride, and hatred. So this is very dangerous kind of intention which one is performing bhakti, that he has a motive to inflict violence or to kill someone or to hurt someone, and or he may be doing out of just a false pride, thinking himself like it is very great. And another very negative intention which is meant is hatred. Out of hate is performing bhakti. So this kind of bhakti is mentioned in the Brihannaradya Purana, where it is says it is also mode of bhakti. Bhakti in mode of ignorance also classified in three levels. So here it is mentioned what are the three levels. The first is yasya charnasya vinasartham bhajate shraddhaya harim phalat priti phalasa bhakti tamasa adam. He who worship with faith. So he has a faith in Lord Vishnu. But his goal to destroy another person is tamasic bhakti of low grade. So this particular kind of bhakti, which we have some example in Shastras like Srimad Bhagavatam, like Prajapati Daksha can be considered to be performing bhakti in the mode of ignorance. So he was also angry with Lord Shiva because Lord Shiva didn't stand or in his honor when he was entering the assembly. So he was angry. He was also devoid of compassion to Sati Devi when Sati arrived. So didn't show any compassion to her, and he had the intention to inflict violence. He also has very pride of his stature, like pride of his status in the society. Like he was a Prajapati Daksh, which was very honorable person. Lord Vishnu and Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma, all the great exalted personality from the universe were coming in this ceremony which he held. So second characteristics is like yo arachate ketavadhiya swarini swapatim yatha narayanam jagannatham savatamsa madhyama. You like a prostitute worship his master with a cheating mentality as tamasic bhakti of medium grade. So here he don't have any intention to hurt or inflict violence, but he has the cheating mentality. Like he's performing bhakti just to take some advantage or some just to say like kind he has some goal or some desire to achieve. So once he achieve that, then he leave the bhakti and is no more interested in the Lord. Third one is Deva Puja Paran Dishwas Pradaya Yorachet Harim Shunasya Piti Falasa Bhakti Tamaso Uttama. You worship the Lord in a competitive mode after seeing Devata worship as high grade of tamasic. So this is kind of bhakti like we naturally say that like we in Maharashtra we most of the people celebrate the Ganesh festival. So many wants to have the big size Ganpati. So they are trying to do competition to that our Ganpati is very big. So this is kind of competitive mode. So many times sometimes a devotee which is more than ignorance performs bhakti in the competitive mode. So this is bhakti of a high grade, tamasic bhakti of high grade. Then he explained the bhakti in the mode of passion. Vishayan abhisandhaya yasya aishwaryam evava acharyad yo mam pritak bhava sa rajasa. So bhakti in the mode of passion, he worship me in the form of deities and other with desire to for other objects. So the person who is mode of passion, that is rajogun, he doesn't have any desire to please the Lord, and he's also is not interested in serving, but he wants some benefits from the Lord with the goal of material gain, vishayan, with a desire to attain fame or wealth. So here the person who's uh, under Rajesh Rajogun, he has some material desire which he wants to fulfill through the bhakti. So, or he wants to achieve some fame or wealth. So here the Pitak Bhava means that he has desire for objects other than me means than the Lord. His intention is not to serve the Lord or to attain the Lord or to perform bhakti to the Lord so the Lord will be pleased. But he has own his agendas like to achieve fame or to achieve wealth or some other material desire. So performer of bhakti, example of this bhakti who perform bhakti in the mode of Rajogun can be Dhruva Maharaj. Dhruva Maharaj, when he was disrespected by when his stepmother didn't allow him to sit on the lap of his father. Then he desired to gain the kingdom of uh, much greater than his great grandfather, that's Lord Brahma. So in 5 years, just a very young age of 5 years, he left his home. Uh, First, he asked that to his mother that how can I achieve the great kingdom? So his mother instructed that only the Lord can fulfill your desire. He is the only person who can give you kingdom greater than the great grandfather's Lord Brahma. So he left and left his home, and in the while in search of God, he came across the Lord, Narad Muni, and Narad Muni gave him mantra. Initially, he discouraged him and told him to go home, but he was determined. Then Narad Muni gave him mantra, and then with a desire to attain the uh, kingdom greater than Lord Brahma, he performed bhakti. So when he achieved the Lord Darshan, he became purified ultimately. Then he uh, became purified, and then he actually became a pure devotee. But his initial intent was to achieve the kingdom greater than Lord Brahma. So now we will see performer bhakti in mode of goodness. So Lord Kapil explained, Karma niharam uddisya parasmin vatad arpanam yajed ashtavyam iti va pritak bhavasa satvika. So person who in mode of goodness, he perform worship Lord with the intention of or goal of destroying karma. Karma niharam uddeshya. Uddeshya means the intention, the purpose. Niharam means he wants to get rid of karma. He worship in such a way that his actions are offered to the Lord. Tadarpanam. So how do you destroy the karma? The karma is the nature of karma is that any action you perform, you have to suffer the or enjoy the results of the karma. So the only way you do that, you do with the desire not to achieve, enjoy the karma, fruits of karma, and you offer your action to the Lord. He performs bhakti of hearing and chanting, but fulfilled with the offerings of occupational duties. So performer in mode of goodness, he performs bhakti and he performs the primary limb of bhakti like hearing and chanting. But since he is situated in Varnashram, he considered that this is an occupational duty. So he can perform this bhakti as part of his like ashrama duty, like in as part of the Varnashram dharma, which mentioned that you should also perform bhakti to the Lord Vishnu. So to fulfill that particular obligation of Varnashram, his ashram duties, he performed bhakti. He worshipped a second character. He worship out of duty, having obtained rules for daily rites. He worship while performing ashram duty, thinking that worship is similar to execution of ashram. So this is the second, like which I mentioned that he's thinking that this is by performing bhakti, he will be executing his varnashram duties. If I do not perform bhakti, I will not be able to do my varnashram duty and I will incur sin. That is his
Prabhuji, last
self-suffering.
2 minutes.
Okay. He has a desire for liberation. Pritakabha here. So again, he has the desire to achieve liberation, but at the same time, uh, he doesn't want to attain Lord, but to achieve liberation. So Lord Kapila describes various types of bhakti, where he says the 9 types of bhaktis are the 3 types of bhakti, tamasic, rajasic, and sattvic bhakti. Sakam Bhakti are successively superior, and Sattvic Bhakti produce some sort of knowledge. So the effect of Sattvic Bhakti that is produced on knowledge. So when attain knowledge and Jnana is secondary, Bhakti is predominant, that is called Jnana Mishra Bhakti. There is also called Pradhani Bhakti, which result in Shantarati beyond 3 gunas. And if Jnana predominates Bhakti, then Bhakti becomes a younger, that is called Bhakti Mishra Jnana, produces Sahaja Bhakti. Then Bhakti mixed with karma is called Bhakti Mishra karma, such as horse sacrifice for material gain, some sort of action, which produce Salakya liberation for happiness with happiness and powers. If one perform bhakti and offer some karma without desire for result, it called produces Santarati. So here the characteristics of pure bhakti is also explained by Lord Kapila. So Lord Kapila mentioned that uh, here, the same is said because the mind, by hearing about the qualities of the Lord, flows continuously to the Me, Supreme Lord, residing in the heart of all people. Just as Ganga flows to the ocean, it is said that the quality of bhakti beyond the guna is absence of result other than bhakti unto the Lord and lack of abstraction from other process. So, like previously mentioned, that the performer of bhakti in 3 modes have pritaka bhava, like rather than achieving the Lord, they have the desire to some other desire, which is not related to Lord. But in pure bhakti, the only desire is the Lord, and the attachment and the towards the Lord flows like Ganga uninterruptedly. So 3 characters of pure bhakti is ayatuki apratiyata. Mind flows completely to the pure bhakti. So this is also can be compared to the Uttam Bhakti definition given by the Rup Goswami in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, where the various like Ahatuki can be compared to Anibilashita Shunya Abhayatya can be compared to Gyan Karmadi Anavrita. Sarva Bhasha can be compared to Anukulyana and Purushottama to Krishna. Managati Avichana, that is unused, that is
Hare
continuous
Krishna,
flow.
Prabhuji.
Yes,
Thank
yes,
you.
bro.
I mean, your time up.
Just 1 minute, bro.
Time
Last
up. Thank you. Thank
slide.
you. Thank you.
Okay. Shall I end, bro?
Yeah, continue. Continue.
So So why the devotees perform bhakti? So here Lord Kapila mentioned that Lord devotees perform bhakti. They are not interested what is being material, but they are not interested in this muktis only if they are devoid of any service to the Lord. Vina mat sevanam jana. So if they devoid of the service of the Lord, they will not interested in liberation also. So then why they perform bhakti? They perform bhakti because it helps them pass or pass the three beyond the three guna attain the prema of the Lord. So that is the only reason that the devotees perform bhakti, that to attain prema. Thank you. Thank you very
Okay.
much.
Okay,
Thank
okay,
you.
thank you. Any devotees, any questions? Hare Krishna, devotees, any questions from anyone?
Hare Krishna.
No,
I had one
Prabhuji.
question. I had one question.
Yes, Mother.
Prabhuji, we saw that devotees practice bhakti in various gunas. So, is there a gradual, maybe a promotion, we may say, from bhakti in rajo, tamoguna to rajo and then to sattva? Is it like that, or how does it happen?
Yes, so Mataji, like the gradual progress doesn't happen until unless for devotee or anyone, so sadhaka, come and across the association of pure devotees or the devotees who have the pure faith. So until unless one comes in the association of Vaishnava, one gradually does not promote because his intention is to achieve name, fame. So bhakti will give them name, fame, but it will not give prema bhakti automatically. So the only way he can achieve, promote or improve his bhakti by coming the association of devotees.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam. Yes,
Krishna
Prabhu.
Prabhuji. Danda Prabhuji.
Yes,
Prabhuji,
Prabhu.
my query is actually Bhakti is fit for that above all this mode of ignorance, all these things. So Prabhuji, how do you understand that Bhakti in mode of ignorance, Bhakti in passion, mode of and Bhakti in goodness? Hare Krishna.
So, Prabhuji, as I explained that Bhakti is always transcendental. It is a Swarupa Vritti, Swarupa Shakti Vritti. That is the function of the Swarupa Shakti, that is internal potency of the Lord. And Bhaktis can never be categorized as mode of Bhakti. Bhakti is a mode of in ignorance, or like the person who is executing, he is in mode of ignorance or he is in mode of passion and mode of ignorance. So once performs, a person who is mode of ignorance is performing bhakti, then you can tell that this person is performing bhakti under ignorance. Bhakti can never be called as bhakti is ignorant.
Thank you.
Okay. Prabhuji, one small question. Have
Yes.
you understood the topic? What was the topic? Of course, you have presented very nicely whatever you presented, but just basic question. What was the topic?
Categories and glories of bhakti.
Okay. So, how you thought of distributing and explaining it? What are
Sorry,
the
no.
characteristics of bhakti? What are the glories of bhakti? What was your thought process in explaining it in the
So,
way you explained?
the idea is like the Lord Kapila in 29th chapter, which was mentioned, like we need to refer that particular chapter. So in this chapter, he explained the various categories of bhakti. So he explained the categories like bhakti under mode of ignorance and passion, goodness, and then he explained the bhakti pure characteristics of pure bhakti also.
Hmm.
So
Okay.
that pure bhakti explain the glories of pure bhakti. Glories of pure bhakti is that the one who perform pure bhakti doesn't desire even the spiritual happiness or liberation also.
Mhm.
That was the main glory of the pure bhakti.
No,
They
that
are
could be
one.
the intention of that bhakti, na? Just like people in other three modes also have some intention with which they are practicing bhakti. And this could be the intention of the person who is practicing bhakti.
But Prabhuji, but the point is that until unless
No, that is fine. That
Bhakti,
is fine. The point is that even the
yeah,
Nirguna Bhakti is also one of the category of bhakti only. These four are
yeah,
the categories. The glories of bhakti are established by explaining the gradation of the living entities. Who deserves great respect and why and how. It is actually in summarily quick summary of the entire 29 chapter. So more or less, my observation is that you just repeated what we discussed in the class. All the slides also repeated. That much is not required because what we have discussed in the class, you don't have to repeat. That is already done. So the presentations are the intention of the presentation is to bring out the lessons by based on our discussion, not to repeat what we discussed, not to repeat the translations, not to repeat the purports as it is. The study of Bhakti Vaibhav is bring out the essence from the whole chapter or whole section. So it is like that. You have explained very thoroughly about bhakti in the mode of ignorance, in the passion, detail. That is not required, that is not expected also. You could have summarized these three types of bhakti or four types of bhakti in 5 minutes. The other 15 minutes you could have used to bring out the lessons and essences. So all the present, not only you, but in general, the presentation is intended for that purpose, not to repeat what is already there in the book or what is already there in the notes. That anyone can do. It is all not about the repetition. It's about what is your contribution. It's about what you have understood. So like that. So, but anyway, better luck next time. So thank you. Hare Krishna. So
Krishna,
we'll go
thank
with
you.
the yes.
No, thank you, Prabhu.
Yes, yes. Even last time also we mentioned to a couple of devotees. So kindly understand what is your topic. If you are not understood, kindly let me know. So
No,
because some
Prabhuji,
last time
I saw a topic where Mataji, some other topic was also there where 29 chapter was mentioned. So that is why I just focused on this particular section.
no problem. See, that is fine. See, even others also, you don't have to repeat what we have discussed in the class. You have to present something new. That is your contribution. And that should not be like speculation. That should be from the chapter only, but instead of repeating the whole translation, whole thing as it is, just briefly touch upon and explain, elaborate. And you can also see preaching applications, personal applications, like that from Shastra point of view. So that should be the motive of these presentations, not to repeat as it is. Okay.
Yeah, Prabhu.
So then, so next we'll go ahead with the third one. Mataji, you are there. Gauranga Shakti Mataji,
Yes,
growth and
Prabhuji.
yeah.
I have
So
tried sharing. It is visible.
no. Yeah, yes, it is visible.
Yes,
Please
Mataji,
go ahead.
it is visible.
Hare Krishna. My obeisance to all the
You
devotees.
you kindly
Yeah.
keep it in the presentation mode. Okay, click on
Present.
that. Click on that. Wherever your cursor is there, click on that.
I have put it, Prabhuji. Is it not seen moving? It's not
No,
seen.
no, no. We don't
Okay.
see it moving. Double click on that. No.
It is.
Slide is moving, but it is not presentation mode.
Prabhuji, I have tried putting it in slideshow, but it is not
Okay.
then visible.
Forget it. It is not. It is with me. You remove it. I'll share.
Oh, okay.
You unshare.
Okay. Stop sharing.
This is the slides, no? Yeah. Yes.
Hare
Yeah.
Krishna.
Please go ahead.
Yeah, the topic for presentation is growth and suffering of the child in the womb. This is from the 31st chapter of Canto 3. We'll be reading. Next slide, Prabhuji. कर्मणादैव नेत्रेण जन्तुदेहोपपत्यये स्त्रिया प्रविष्ट उदरं पुंसोरेतः कनाश्रयः. So Sri Bhagavan Vacha, Kapil Dev is explaining the thing to Mother Devahuti that as per the result of the karmana, that is the result of individual karmas, and under the Daiva Netrena, that is under the guidance, under the supervision of the Supreme Lord, the Atma, individual Atma, is going to assume a particular body. It is going to enter Striyaha Pravishta Udaram. It enters the womb of a lady by taking Punso Retaha Kanashraya, by taking shelter of the particle of male semen. So, as the same thing next, this we can very well see as per the modern texts, which embryological texts, which state that the semen, that the particle of the semen, that is the sperm and the ovum, they combine to form the zygote, from where the which is going to further develop into the human form. So it is the this Retaha Kanashraya. So the Atma is going to take, the soul is going to take shelter of the sperm. So which is Jantuhu Retah Kanashraya. Jantu is the Atma, Retaha Kanashraya, taking the shelter of the sperm. Next, Prabhuji, next. So we see that the Atma, the soul, is after taking multiple hellish, living in multiple different hellish conditions and accepting various hellish bodies like the dogs and hawks, finally gets an opportunity to take a human form. And as per the Shastras, it is the presence of the soul which is very important for, it is not just the particle of the semen and the ovum which are going to lead to the formation of the human body, but the presence of the soul is utmost important for this process to occur. So there is the spiritual theory versus the materialistic theory, which states that a child is simply born by material combination of the sperm and ovum. Next, Prabhuji. So we actually are in the human form, it's a rare opportunity. So how exactly the further development occurs? It is that stated, Kalalam tu ekaratrena pancharatrena budbudam dashahena tu karkandu peshandya va tatah param. So kalalam is the mixture. The ovum and the sperm, they will mix to form the zygote in the modern terms. Tu ekaratrena. This happens on the first night. Then by the fifth night, it forms bubble-like structure. And by the 10th day, Dashahena to Karakandu, a ball-like structure, which here is referred to like as a plum. And thereafter, the flesh, etc., further develops. So, even when we see the modern text, Prabhuji, next, we will see that it exactly matches what the modern uh, text from embryology tell us, that by the first day, it is the fertilization, Kalalam, as we can see, day one, Kalalam, which happens. So that is the first day. And gradually, this zygote, which is formed by the combination of the sperm and the ovum, eventually the single cell will further partition into multiple cells, which appears like a budbudam by day 5, as we can see. And later on, as it enters the womb of the mother, then it appears to be a plum shape, Karakandu, like that. So that is by the day 10, when the now the Karakandu, it embeds the womb of the mother for further shelter. Next, Prabhuji. So like that, so the same thing is repeated. So day one, there is formation of Kalalam, which is the zygote. Budbudam, it is the morula, and Karakandu is the blastocyst in the modern terms. So, and thereafter Peshi Anda. So further development of the child, various muscles, etc., etc., which further develop in the embryo further, that is in the further process. Next project. This can be skipped. So this is how the Kalalam and Budbudam is seen, fertilized egg and the morula. Now, what happens? What are the various types of development? As in the trees and the plants, they sprout from the earth. Then flies, germs, and bugs, they grow from the perspiration. The birds develop from the eggs, and in animals and human beings, that is the mammals, they develop from the embryos. Next. Masena tu shirodvabhyam bahu angrihi आदि अंग विग्रह न खललोम अस्ति चर्मानि लिंग छिद्र उद्भव त्रिभिः. So by the third month, what all things are going to occur? Mass in the first month, Masenatu, in the first month, Shiro, the head is formed. And Dwabhyam, in the second month, Bahuhu Angrihi Adi Anga Vigraha. So it is the hands, feet, and all the limbs, they gradually develop in the second month. Then Nakha, Loma, Asti, and Charma, along with the various bodily chidra, linga and related chidra, are going to develop in the third month. So this we can see that it exactly matches what the modern embryology is going to teach, as we can see in the further slides. So here in this slide, we can see, as I have labeled Asti, so we can see that the bones have started developing, in the third month. This is the lower part where in the third month, the Asti, the bones have started, ossification, as we say, has started occurring after the second month, that is in the third month. And by nearing the end of the third month, where I have labeled Naka and Charmani, Naka, Loma, Charmani, so where we can see exactly, they have mentioned how the nails have clearly developed by the 12th week, which is the end of the third month of development. So and further also we will see. So we can see this Naka, Loma, and Charma developing by the end of the third month. Now in this particular slide, if we see the where it is labeled 5 on the left hand side, so we can see this is towards the 29th day, so which is towards the end of the first month of the development, where the head is clearly formed. So as it is mentioned, Shiro, it is formed in the first month. So by the end of the first month, the head has been completely formed. Then towards the opposite end of that, in the fifth label, towards the last line, we can see that the limbs have started appearing. So this is in the second month. So initially smaller and undifferentiated, and if we go to the last square in this, we can see last line row, we can see that the limbs have further differentiated into a shoulder, elbow, hand, feet, etc. So that entire limb has very nicely developed by the end of the second month. So exactly whatever is mentioned in the text is matching with what the modern science also explains. Hare Krishna. Next. So here again, it is well seen. This is by the sixth week, which is the second month, that only a part of the limb buds which are seen, they are not yet very well differentiated. But in the next slide, we can see that they are very well differentiated. Next, Prabhuji. So this is by the 8th week, which is the end of the second month, where the fingers, the elbow, etc., joints, knee joint, etc., are very well differentiated in the by the end of the second month. So this is exactly matching what the modern science usually describes. Next. Also, what is mentioned is the linga chidra adi bhi. So this is the eyelid. So just to show that how the aperture, the eyelid are going to differentiate and partition. So that process is occurring by the 14th week, which is the end of the third month of pregnancy. So even that aperture is well formed, and then it is going to differentiate. Similarly, that embryology texts do mention that it is after the 7th and 8th week that the various apertures of the body, they are going to be properly established. So that is in the third month of pregnancy. So that matches. Next. So yes, just to summarize again, first month the head is formed, second month hands and feet and other limbs are formed, and in the third month nails, fingers, toes, hairs, bones, skin, and the organ of generation and various other apertures like the eyes, nostrils, ears, mouth, and anus do form. Next slide, Prabhuji. Then चतुर्भिः धातवः सप्त पंचभिः पंचभिः श्रुतु श्रुतृत उद्भवः षड्भिः जरायुनावीतः कुक्षौ भ्रामयति दक्षिणे. So by the end, by the fourth month, the various 7 types of dhatu which are formed, that is the child, blood, flesh, fat, bone marrow, and semen, they come into existence. And thereafter, by the end of the 5th month, hunger and thirst are filled by the child, developing child. And by the end of the sixth, and it is at this time that the child then starts making movements. And then at the end of the sixth month, the fetus is enclosed by the amnion, and it starts moving towards the right side of the abdomen. So it is stated that the male fetus would be moving towards the right side, and the female fetus would move towards the left side. Next slide, please. So the same thing has been summarized. In the fourth month, the seven dhatus, fifth month, hunger and thirst are felt, and in the sixth month, the child, based on the sex, is going to move on either side of the womb. Next. मातुः मातुः जग्द अन्नपान आदहि एधत धातुः असम्मते शेते विट्मुत्रयो गर्ते सह जंतु जंतु संभवे. So the child is going to derive its nutrition from whatever food the mother is going to consume. And the child which is placed in the womb of the mother, it is surrounded by the intestines of the mother as well as by the urinary bladder of the mother, which is filled with urine, and the intestines which are filled with the stool, so which is a breeding place for the various worms. So the child is basically surrounded by all these abominable structures, and it has to develop in that particular position. So this is also, as we can see from the next slide. So as it is mentioned in the text, Prabhupada gives the example of Markandeya Purana, where now here we can see that this developing embryo, it is surrounded by this very transparent amniotic cavity, and here we can see that the child is attached to the external, the flower-like thing which is appearing. So that is the placenta, and it is connected to the child's umbilicus through the umbilical cord, and it is through this that the child is going to get the nutrition from the mother, and its waste products are going to be sent back to the mother for further excretion. The next slide, the same process has been shown in the next slide, where the details of the vessels of the fetus and how they are going to contact the vessels of the mother for the exchange to occur has been shown. So the same has been stated in Markandeya Puran. Next slide, Roji, wherein Srila Prabhupada states that this apayani, sorry, upper yani, which is the umbilical cord, it joins the mother to the abdomen of the child, and it is through this passage that the womb is going to get the nourishment that it is required. Now, because of this, at this particular stage, when we actually see the developing fetuses, they are very, very delicate, extremely delicate. Each of the tissue is extremely delicate. So looking at this, and as per what the Shastras do tell, the mother has to be very, very careful about what she can eat and what she needs to avoid. However, modern science does not pay attention to any of these things. Though we do fetal dissections, but it does not translate into the advice given to the mothers, that how they careful they have to be, so that they should avoid food stuff which can harm the delicate structure of the fetus at this point of time. So all these restrictions and precautions which are mentioned in the Smriti scriptures are really very good for the mother to follow for a proper development of the child. And it is as stated, if the children are going to develop well, as well as when they are very well taken care of by their parents, so it is going to be a boon for the population, for the society, because the society will be filled with good population, not only in terms of health, but also in terms of the care that the mother would take in order to give the spiritual, parents would take in order to give the spiritual upbringing to the children. So it is going to benefit the society, country, as well as the entire human race. Next page. कृतिभिः शतसर्वाङ्ग सौकुमार्यात् प्रतिक्षणं मूर्च्छाम् apnoti uruklesha tatratyaya shudhitaihi muhuhu. So what happens is that as the child is being surrounded by the intestines which have worms, so the developing child is bitten again and again by these worms, hungry worms in the abdomen. So the child suffers a lot of pain but cannot speak it out. Yeah, so this happens continuously, and this is a very terrible condition which is faced by the child. However, just because the child does not have a fully developed consciousness, so the consciousness at this point of time is very crude, and it is one of the benedictions of Maya Devi that one cannot feel all these sufferings. Otherwise nobody would have ever survived till the day of delivery, till the day of presentation into this world. So just imagining that in the womb, in the like the further slokas are going to state, that the child is completely in a position, and in a very crumpled position, and surrounded by this tightly adherent uterus, that is the womb. It is in a, and plus surrounded by the amniotic fluid. And another miserable situation is, in at this point of time, the child will also have to take in its own urine. Yeah, so the child swallows its own urine, whatever urine that is ejected into the amniotic fluid, that is swallowed back by the child. So this is our situation, this miserable situation we are living, developing in the womb. So it's actually a miserable beginning of life. And but the unfortunate situation is our forgetfulness, which is there repeatedly mentioned in further shlokas, that we tend to forget these miseries of birth, as well as there are miseries of death as well. So any transmigration, whether it be from any lower species to higher species, birth is a component of it, and birth and death are miserable situations. However, we are so much enamored by Maya that we tend to forget all these miseries. Next slide, Prabhuji. Next slide, Prabhuji. कटुः तीक्ष्ण उष्ण लवण रुक्ष आम्ल आदिभिः उल्बनैः मातृभुक्ते उपस्पृष्ट सर्व अंग उत्थित वेदनः. So whatever the food stuffs that the mother is going to eat, all the 6 rasas which have been mentioned, so based on the proper improper diet, the child is going to suffer. And this is a continuous suffering, intolerable. The mother doesn't realize what is happening, but because we are told you can eat anything and everything, but it causes a lot of suffering to the child. So उल्बलेन संवृतः तस्मिन् अन्त्रैः च बहिः आवृतः आस्ते कृत्वा शिरः कुक्षौ भुग्नपृष्ठ शिरधरः. So we can see that as already stated, that the child is surrounded by this amnion and the amniotic fluid, outside surrounded by the intestines of the mother, and it is compactly packed with its head turned towards the belly, and the back and the neck which are arched like a bow. So in this compact situation, the child is placed and it is developing in the womb. And we can just imagine, in case if we have to again, as an adult, be placed in similar position, it is impossible to survive. We cannot survive, it's impossible. Just to even think that we just have to swallow our own urine, or be surrounded by the intestines which are having stools, etc., it's impossible. We don't even feel like standing near a bathroom in a railway. We feel immediately go in our bogie. So what to think about, take assuming this position. Yeah. However, we have all assumed this position, and continuously we are assuming it again and again. So it's a difficult position. And as mentioned earlier, because the consciousness of the developing child, it is crude. So it is one of the benedictions of Maya, and we are able to still tolerate it. However, this is an impossible entanglement. And what is very important to understand, that it's a miserable situation, and this understanding has to be given to the entire civilization. Like how the child develops in the womb should be a part of the curriculum, so that everyone, in all the students, all the children are aware that this is how the precarious situation is there in the material existence, if we want it again and again. We tend to forget all these miseries of birth and death. However, it is extremely miserable. Now, further, what happens is, next slide, Prabhuji. अकल्पस्वांग चेष्टायां शकुंत इव पंजरे तत्र लब्ध स्मृतिर्दैवात् कर्म जन्म शतोद्भवम् स्मरण दीर्घ अनुश्वासं शर्म किं विन्दते. nama vindate. So the child, it appears like it is a bird in a cage, unable to move, no freedom of movement. Swanga cheshtaya, no freedom of movement. It is there. At this time, if the child is fortunate, daivat, if the child is so fortunate, what will happen? Tatra labate smritir. No, the child will remember Janma Shatodbhavam, past 100 births. So, and it is not only remembering the 100 births, but the mistakes that one has committed in all those 100 births, because of which one has to again and again assume the same position. So, child will remember, yeah, this is the mistake I have committed in this birth, and I have to assume this, again come back into the same horrible situation. So, considering all this, the child is never in a peaceful state at this particular point of time. So, one who does not take heed of these indications of suffering in human existence is said to be undoubtedly committing suicide. So, if we do not understand what miseries we have already gone through, and probably if we again take birth, we will be going through, it is like we are committing suicide. We have, for all of us, we are very, very extremely fortunate that we have an efficient boat, that is this human body, and a very expert captain, the spiritual master, and the teachings of the spiritual master coming from the various wonderful devotees, which as well as the scriptural injunctions, which are like the favorable winds. And so we have to try to take benefit of this particular wonderful opportunity that we have got, and try our level best to perfect in our lives. Next slide, Olje. आरम्भ्य सप्तमासात् लब्धबोधः अपि वेपितः न एकत्र आस्ते सुतिवातैः विष्टा भूइव सौदरः. So thus by the 7th month, the consciousness is now further developing. So level of consciousness now is, the child can perceive the difficulties, as well as the sutivata is going to not allow the child to remain in one particular position, like the worms, which also cannot remain in one particular position. The worms are referred here as the saodara, like they are present in the womb, and they will also be delivered during delivery. So they are like the brother, saudara, for the developing baby. So this yeah. So in the next shloka, further it is stated. नाथमानः ऋषिभीत सप्तविधिः कृताञ्जलिः स्तुवीत तम विक्लवया वाचा येन udare arpitah. So in this particular situation, here now from the jantu, the term which has been used for the developing or the soul, it is rishibhi. So that fortunate soul who had remembered his 100 lives, and he knows the pain of going through all these life, he or she knows the pain of going through all these lives, now comes to the understanding that the in a frightful living in this living entity, in this frightful condition, which is surrounded by the 7 layers of material ingredients, now prays with the folded hands, krutanjalihi. So that is and hereafter the detailed prayers of how exactly the child in the womb is going to pray further will be coming. Here ends the presentation. However, a similar uh, uh, part of development, which was also one of my students had shown me this thing. So I thought I would just include this part, that a little similar aspect has been also mentioned in Quran, that how the development of the embryo occurs in the womb, and that is by the blessing of the God who is the perfect creator. So that is blessing of Allah and the perfect creator. So that is how the child develops in the womb, and that is the suffering that the child is placed in the womb. Hare Krishna. And I just hope that if we can remember all these sufferings, we will think 10 times, before making any mistake in this lifetime, before making any aparadh in this lifetime, so that we can avoid being into such situation again and again. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you very much for a wonderful presentation. Any devotees want to say anything? Any comments? Any questions? Okay, no comments, no questions. So thank you very much, Mataji, adding all the scientific understanding you explained very thoroughly. So devotees must have matlab, awestruck. So I'll share these slides with your permission to all the devotees. They will also have this. They can discuss.
Yes.
Actually, these things we need to discuss within our family members, especially the students who are growing up. So they should know what's happening in our body. This is one section from the Bhagavatam third canto. There is one more section which will come in the fourth canto, which also talks about the entire anatomy of the human body. So we may think that Bhagavatam is simply a book of all the stories, etc., etc. It's not a book of stories. It's actually a book of philosophy and book of science. So actually, all of us should know thoroughly, and we teach our children also, so that they should be learning all these things. Though modern science talks about the embryology, but Bhagavatam goes one step ahead. What happens to the child in the womb? That remembering one's past 100 lives during the seventh month onwards, no science can come to that conclusion. That is not possible at all. Science can never think in that direction.
Yes.
So, but here we can understand. So, and then we also discussed during our classes that the child makes plans. Okay, I made so many mistakes in the past. Now I don't want to make the mistake. This time, at least I should perfect my life. But still, as you said, after coming out of the womb, we forget everything, and then we are again back to square. So, by keep hearing such kind of things again and again, that's why Srila Prabhupada said, Nityam Bhagavad Sevaya. Every day we should hear Bhagavatam. Every day we should hear that I am not the body, I am the spirit soul. Every day we should hear that the three modes are binding me. Every day we should hear that Maya is so strong. By hearing again and again, maybe one day we become careful. That is the only hope. So thank you. Hare Krishna. So
Hare
the
Krishna.
next
Thank
we'll go with the next presentation about the prayers by the Jiva in the womb. It is like continuation of that. Yeah, Madhupati Prabhu, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Dandatunam to all of you. Today we will discuss the prayer of the devotee Jiva within the womb. Actually, Prabhupada mentioned here the human soul. Am I audible, Prabhuji?
Yes, yes, go ahead. Quick.
Actually, the living entity in the faithful condition is bounded by the seven material layers in the womb of the mother and prays to folded hands, appealing to the Lord who put in his condition. The human soul says, I take shelter of the Supreme Personality of God who appears in his various internal forms and walks on the surface of the world. Siddhartha Swami says that walking in the earth is reference to the Lord Krishna appearance in earth. Krishna accepts many forms since all forms are included within him. We know that Krishna is the founder and head of all avatars, and from him all the avatars comes, like Matsya, Kurma, Varaha, Nrsimha, all the avatars comes from Krishna. So according to Jiva Goswami, Lord Kapila says the expectation of Lord Krishna's appearance in the futures, since I am impure, the condition of living in an ocean of suffering in the womb has been shown to be befitting. Example like Ramchandra actually walked on the surface of the world, and Lord Krishna also walked just like an ordinary man to protection pious and destruction of the impious. We know Ramchandra, when he was in Treta Yuga, he was working all the worlds in the surface of the world, and he is the destruction of the impious like Ravana, Kumbhakarna, and other demons also. Next slide, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Next slide, Prabhuji. Hari Bol. Let hold. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, slides are getting changed. You're not able to sleep?
Yes, Prabhuji. The living entity is liberated by his material contamination temporary, and his actually position is that is liberated. Like when rain is rain season, when rain is falls in the surface of the earth, it's within mud, then it is contaminated. Like this, our temporary body is contaminated by the material contamination. When we are in temporarily, but when we are in like mixed with mud, they say so sun will sterilizing the water from the mud, it become a pure. Like our temporary contamination with material nature is like that. When we are free from material nature, we become a pure. The liberation achieved by Krishna consciousness which begin from the point of surrender. When we are surrendering to pure devotees, then we will be achieved by Krishna liberation. Because pure devotee is guided and instruction how to do and how to liberate in material nature. The soul further praying, the living entity is put under the influence of material nature and continue to hard struggling for existence on the path of repeated birth and death. This condition life is due to his forgetfulness of his relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Because we are forget to forget or forget the relationship with our Lord, then we will come another condition life in this material world. The Mayavadi philosopher says that simply by cultivation of knowledge, by mental speculation, one can be liberated from the condition of material bondage. But one is liberated not by knowledge, but by the mercy of the Supreme Lord. Because the knowledge condition soul gains mental speculation. It may be mental speculation. So we can't liberated by our mental speculation.
Hare Krishna, you are not audible.
Hare Krishna. We are not, we can't hear, Prabhuji.
Now we can hear.
Okay. Continuously, the Jiva soul is a subnet servitor of the Supreme Soul. The living entity is contaminated and suffering because of material body, but that does not mean that because mean the Lord is also with him. Because Lord is not contaminated by the material nature when we are contaminated by material nature. The Mayavadi philosopher, because of their impure heart, cannot understand that Supreme Lord, super soul, to difference from the individual soul. Because Mayavadis think that the soul and the super soul is one, so they cannot understand the super soul different from the individual soul. Therefore, a fortunate living being who comes to the understanding even with the womb of his mother is liberated assured. Third slide, Prabhuji. Fourth truth. Misuse of independence is the cause of being influence of Maya. Because we are using our minute independence, so we influence of Maya. When previously we are in spiritual world, when we are thinking of independence, think we are lord of, we become a lord, then we become in this material world influence of Maya. One can do so very easily if the surrender to him. We can easily get out from this material world when we are surrendered to Krishna. जैसे भगवत गीता में says गुणामयी दैवी ऐसा गुणामयी मम माया दुरत्तया. When we are surrendered to Krishna, then Krishna will liberated us, because this Prakriti is under him and he is controlling the Prakritis. Living it influenced by his own will, if you want to get out only by his mercy. When he became mercy upon us, then we can liberate and get out of this material world. No one other than the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the localized Paramatma and partial representation of the Lord, is directing all animate and animate objects. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, when whatever we are seeing this material world, all objects is as a situated as a Paramatma. He is present in the three phases of time. He knows the past, present, and future. We know that he is also saying in Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna to say to Arjuna, you are not there, but I am there, and you are present here, but past you are not there, but I will be there. Though we know that Lord is always there, past, present, and future. His direction and order to get free from the threefold miseries of this conditioned life. Because when we are surrendering to him and we follow the direction and order, then we can liberated from the threefold miseries of life. The Lord says in Bhagavad Gita, Sarva Dharman Paritajya Mamekam Saranam Braja. When we are surrendered to Krishna, then he will protect us, and whatever we have seen, take out, and we will give the protection of our life. The source of knowledge, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Whatever knowledge comes from the Lord. Vedaisa sarver ahame vedya. The Bhagavad Gita says. The spiritual master is therefore the mercy manifestation of the Supreme Personality of his person. By his instruction and direction, gradually becomes enlightened to the path of Krishna consciousness. The seed of Krishna consciousness is sown within the heart of the conditioned soul. जैसे ब्रह्मांड भ्रमित कौन भाग्यवान जीव गुरु कृष्ण प्रसाद पाए भक्ति लता बीज. When spiritual mastery is mercy of spiritual mastery is the manifestation, a representative of the Lord. When his mercy is upon us, then we can get out this condition and become a pure, then become a surrender to Krishna. Fallen into a pool of blood, stool, and urine within the abdomen of his mother, his own body searched by the mother's gastric fire embodied soul actions to get out the counts of the mother and pray. When his jiva soul in his mother is prays continuously how to get out this womb of mother, because the womb is so precocious condition, the blood, stool, and urine is there and floating on that condition. When shall I reach that soul to be liberated, oh my Lord? He is praying intensely. So when I shall come out this womb of this mother? Fifth slide, Prabhuji. The so-called civilized person does not take account of his humble condition of life, and sometimes gratification, he tries to kill the child method of contraction and aberration. Because we know this material world, people are enjoying, but they don't want to uh, child. So they are using contraception and aberration, because they are continue this in the material life and material world again and again, because they don't understand what is the what should we do and what should not we do. Word kripanadhi, dhi means in intelligent and kripana means miserly. By developing intelligence to get out of the cycle of birth and death, because we have in this material world so many intelligent person, but they are don't care of this spiritual life. They are only creating so many machines, so many engineering materials, but they are developed intelligence. They are not using the get out from this cycle and birth and death. So one does not do so in misery, just like a person who has immense wealth but does not utilize. A person has so many wealth, but they continue to enjoying this material world and promote to others to enjoying this material world. But they don't want to use their wealth to propagating the Lord's name and Krishna consciousness. We should always feel very much obliged to the personality of God, and for he is always anxious to his into the happy condition of internal life, like introduction of Bhagavad Gita. Because Lord is our friend, he is always take out from this material condition. He is always trying to all the souls in this universe can come to this lotus feet of this Lord. So he is trying to so many ways, like Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, and spiritual master, pure devotees. They are like representative of the Lord, and when we are surrendering to Him, then we will gradually come to the lotus feet of the Lord. The human form of life, by the grace of good, the consciousness is so developed that man can evaluate his exceptional position and thus realize the self and the Supreme Lord. Because we previously discussed that intelligent, if he will developed intelligent is using the Krishna consciousness, then you evaluate his life and realize the self and the Supreme Lord. The entire material existence is entangled in this bodily conception of life. Real knowledge is means to develop the consciousness of I am not this body and I am supreme spirit soul. Because we know all in this material world, all of we are in this bodily conception of life. This is not a proper knowledge. Real knowledge means to develop the consciousness. I am not the body. I am spirit soul. One does not need any material arrangement to cultivate Krishna consciousness. One can cultivate Krishna consciousness anywhere and everywhere, provided he can always think of Krishna. Because sometimes we think that we have not the condition, we have no time. This time is not proper. This situation is not proper. This time we can't practice our Krishna consciousness. But Prabhupada is mentioned, one does not need any material arrangement to cultivate Krishna consciousness. One can cultivate Krishna consciousness anywhere and everywhere, provided he can always think of Krishna. Because think of Krishna is not required any material arrangement. A person can think anywhere and everywhere. That should be done in our life. Therefore, without being agitated anymore, I shall deliver myself from darkness of science with the help of my friend clear consciousness, simply by keeping the lotus feet of the Lord Vishnu in my mind. I shall be saved from entering into the womb of my mother for repeated birth and death. The conclusion one of the child prays, let me remain in this condition, although is very miserable. It is better not to fall a victim of Maya when I am going outside. Because if praying to the in the womb of the mother, later he is pure to come out come out the womb and outside the material, because this material world in he think that when I come out the womb of the mother and I will be influence of this Maya. So we know that as Sukadeva Goswami, when he was in the womb of mother, he don't want to come out this material world, because he know this material world. When he comes in the material world, he will be influence of the Maya. So he is so fear that he was not come in the material world. Without being unnecessarily agitated, if you take to the process of Krishna consciousness by constantly chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, the cycle of birth and death can be stopped for the good. Hare Krishna. Thank
Hare
you, Prabhuji.
Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. Any questions from any devotees? Yeah, no questions. Okay, Prabhuji, thank you. Thank you for presenting very nicely. Yeah, thank you very much. So, do we have any further presentations? Achyutanimaya Prabhu, you are there? And Gauri Pause Mataji. These two supposed to speak today. Mataji has informed me that she will not be able to join because she is in the hospital. So, but Achyutanimaya Prabhu did not tell anything. Okay. Anybody from next week want to present? If they are ready.
No, Prabhuji, next week we will present. I am not ready for this.
Next week only want to present. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. Okay. If that is the case, next week only will continue. So thank you very much. Today also many devotees are not there. I think festivities are still going on. Vijayadashmi. So thank you very much. So we'll continue the remaining presentations next week. Okay.
Yes, Rosie. I will also present